Another struggling offense, Tyler. Another struggling offense last week against a good Pittsburgh defense. This Atlanta Falcons team. I was very high on this Atlanta offense. Kirk Cousins. We know what the weapons already. Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, like new offensive coordinator Zach Robinson, and they go out there against Pittsburgh, and I wouldn't call it a dud. It just wasn't a very effective performance. We saw a lot of what we were expecting, though. Heavy Bijan Robinson. First game back for Kirk Cousins, so maybe a little rust there. But players that we were, potentially calling big-time players. Kyle Pitts had a touchdown, but it wasn't like a big performance. Drake London was damn near invisible. How are you feeling about this Falcons offense, bro? Because I have a very short-term window for where I'm going to allow this. A very short-term window before I start to panic.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look good either. The biggest problem was truly Kirk Cousins, who I'm a Steelers fan, and like the guy did not move out there. Like he was just a statue. And TJ Watt was able to just mess up that offensive line.
At will.
Like it was not good. Now the hope is that like Kirk Cousins, coming off the Achilles, might still need a little bit of time to kind of be mobile-ish. Like he's never been a mobile quarterback, but at least like move, step around the pocket, be able to do something, because he couldn't even do that last game. And if like that becomes kind of the headline for weeks ahead, then this is very, it's worrisome, very worrisome, because it's going to affect these receivers, like especially like Kyle Pitts, who played 100% of the snaps. It's going to affect Drake London. I mean, I want to say Ray McLeod was the leader of the weekend in terms of receivers. So it was not good week one. Also, like I do want to say too, like Caleb obviously was playing against a tough defensive line. The Steelers should have one of the best. I mean, this is one of the highest paid defenses in the league. It might be the highest paid defense in the league. So this is a very, very good defense. At least right now, when they're healthy, they should be one of the best defense in the league. So it was a really, really tough matchup. We'll see how it goes in the coming weeks, but it is something that, I'm still keeping an eye on, just to see how Kirk Cousins is able to move throughout the year.
It's I said the word panic, and it's like normally I'd never panic about anything, but I think coming into this scenario, you're hoping Kirk Cousins looks 85 to 95% of himself, and I don't think we saw that. And I know that there was a lot of disruption, and so the reason why I say it's a short-term window is because if it was truly the Steelers defense that was giving them problems, then this is understandable. And this is just an elevation now for the Pittsburgh defense, and we got to know quarterbacks going up against them are going to have some troubles. If this is a Falcons thing, I think we're going to find out here very soon, especially going up against the Eagles team that let Jordan Love, kind of sling the rock around. We got to see what Kirk Cousins looks like, and if he's not fully healthy, this could be a Michael Penix thing come mid-season. Like, I don't think there's a very big window for Kirk Cousins to play bad off of this.
That might be good, though.
It might be good. It might be good. And he might be a rookie, too. Like, there's a lot of ifs that come along with that we don't want if you have Falcons players. If you drafted Drake London, chances are you took him as a top 15 receiver in hopes that he looked the part. If you took Kyle Pitts, you took him as a top 5 to 7 tight end in hopes that he looked the part. If you took Bijan Robinson, chances are you had to reach on him at number 1, 2, or 3 running back in hopes that he looked the part. And if this offense can't move with Kirk Cousins, I do have concerns. And this is, I think it's really valid, man, to have, have the expectations and to realign them now. This is, I think it's time. So this Philly game coming up will show me a lot. If the offense can move the ball, we see Kirk in that 225 to 250 range, throw a couple touchdowns, I feel much better about it. If we see another struggle game from Kirk Cousins where he's not able to move around the pocket, not able to drive throws, not able to spread the ball around the way that we're expecting, I'll have some major concerns about this offense. The good thing we saw to Tyler, Bijan Robinson. And obviously I can sit here and continue to glaze the entire episode about Bijan Robinson. How were you feeling about him? I know we were Brees, CMC, Bijan. You and I both were not on CMC, on Bijan and Brees. How are you feeling about Bijan Robinson now in this role, seeing the workload he was getting, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I had him in I had Brees as my RB1 this year, and Bijan was my RB2. I still feel good about it. Obviously, you hope that this Falcons offense can move the ball, sustain drives, that kind of stuff. But yeah, like he was an absolute workhorse. And going forward, if they can move it, like he truly has RB1 overall upside. So if you drafted them, like, just pray that Kirk Cousins can, because I do think it's a big matchup this week. Like against that Eagles or defensive line, like this could get ugly.
It could get ugly, or I kind of see like this reminds me of like bounce back spot. Kirk Cousins is not good in prime time. This offense struggle. Like this has all the telltale signs of like Atlanta comes in there into Philly and gets a win. So I'm hoping.
What if they get? What if that doesn't happen? What if it's the total opposite?
That is the concern. If Philly comes out there and destroys Atlanta, then that's why I said I think this window is very short because the expectations for this Falcons team, I don't think it's win the division. I think they went all in this year.
Yeah.
And to try to see, like, that's why you go get a Matthew Judon. That's why you go get a Justin Simmons, because you think you have Super Bowl aspirations. And that's why I think you also draft a Michael Penix. Because if Kirk doesn't work out, you're like, nah, we got to get results right now. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. So the division's weak. They'll have opportunity. It has to come this week. And, you know, obviously
they play Kansas City the week after, too.
Who they got week after?
Kansas City.
That's
the week after.
They can't start 0-3.
That's going to be rough.
They can't start.
Then they play the Saints, and I mean,
division game, tough defense.
It's a tough defense, and the Saints looked really good week 1.
They did. So now, let me ask you this. We didn't see the big game out of Drake London. Are you panicking? I can't remember if you were like big on Drake London this offseason or not, but we didn't have the big game. How are you evaluating Drake London? Are you saying it's time to tear him down? Because there's some players after week 1, I think, with a workload, you could like, it's time to tear them down. I think there's also players you could look at and say, I need to buy more time. Or there's also players you could say, I was completely right or completely wrong. I think you can do that. And there's some players you can be like, it's easy to figure out. Have you figured out Drake London, or are you still waiting?
I mean, I guess I'm still waiting, like, just because if Kirk Cousins, you know, like you said, is able to go out there next week and he looks fine. Like, I really think it's just I don't think that it's Drake London. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that he's a bad wide receiver. I think he's a very good real life wide receiver. And I think same with Kyle Pitts. I think he's a very good real life tight end. But like Kirk Cousins, I mean, you just saw it, like could not get any juice on those throws, like could not like fully step into it. And it didn't look good. So like you said, it's a short window. And if it doesn't look good next week, like, yeah, I'm very concerned about Drake London going forward. And he's definitely going to fall down in my ranks quite a bit, depending on what happens next week.
We didn't see a preseason from any of these starters, so maybe we can attribute it to Russ getting this thing going. So I expect some easy looks for some of these guys, but the Falcons offense, a little bit of a concern, more than I wanted to say after week 1, even up against Pittsburgh. And all eyes will be on this team on Monday night. Oh,
yes, 100%.
There's going to be a lot of eyes on them.